Hi, Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera. You're watching a special recording because we have the honor of having Professor Tariq Ramadan around in KL, and I would like to take this opportunity to have a few quick words because he is the Professor of Contemporary Islamic Studies from Oxford University. I'm rushing because I've been to 2 sessions where Professor Tariq Ramadan has spoken, and there's so many issues. Some guy said 55 questions he has in the Q&A, but I have 101. But I guess I'm going to sum it all up. Because there's one Islam, but there are many interpretations. I get that from the first session. But within Islam itself, there's many diversity involved. But there is the question of mainstream Islam, and we're looking at whether that accepts the others or not. Within that conversation, we have globalization happening. And if I take the example of what is looked upon by the West as Arab Spring, but you term it as Arab Awakening, maybe we can use that as a starting point to discuss about the many questions facing Islam in the contemporary world right now.
Yes, thank you for your invitation. I think that once again, when it comes to our principles as Muslims and what are the challenges that we are facing, first, it's really important for us to know exactly what we mean when we come back to our religion, and it's a set of principles. And the set of principles is based on, of course, the scriptural sources, the Quran and the prophetic tradition, and we have many interpretations. Now, when we are dealing with our societies, there are principles and objectives that we want. We want the people to be respected, and we know that there is something which is called the human dignity. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. We gave dignity to the son of Adam. There is something which has to do with justice. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُ بِالْعَدْلِ. God commands justice. That we need also to understand that the people should be free, and freedom is important, and this is one of the dimensions of the human dignity, is to be free. And now what is happening in the Muslim majority countries is people asking for more freedom, more dignity, more justice, no corruption. And yet, while we have this Arab awakening, when the people are understanding that they can change something, that they can move on, still we have many other challenges, and we have to avoid being very simplistic in our way we deal with what is happening. You have foreign powers that have something to say about what is happening in Egypt or in Tunisia, so there are political and economic pressure. We need to get a holistic understanding. It's not only about the political structures, you know, democracy or not. It has to do with economic interest and geostrategic interest. These are complex issues, and the problem is that very often Muslims are emotional much more than they are rational. They are driven by, you know, joy sometimes and emotions, and not by scrutiny and in-depth study of what is happening on the ground. And this is what I have been trying to say in my discussion here. One of our main challenges is to study, to understand, and to be active in changing this world.
So many times you mention dignity, and so many times you mention justice. But sometimes when we take the mainstream perception of Islam, that comes later. We look at what's right or wrong first. And what you said in the morning, you really jive with what I've been trying to find out, is that you say when we begin with Islam, it looks at justice. But nowadays, we talk about parameters, and we talk about limits first. And when you talk about hudud, you say, give me the perfume of what's right first before you talk about hudud. Can you give your understanding from that perspective for us to understand?
Yes, I think that you are translating in a very good way. What I'm saying is that what is happening today is this obsession with Muslims about limits and about rules and even about punishment. It's as if to be a good Muslim, we should show how much you are strict, how much you are harsh, and how much you abide by limitations, and not start with the principles. Islam is not about being harsh and being tough and being difficult. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Yassiru wa la tu'assiru." Make things easy, not difficult. Bashiru wa la tunaffiru. It's just call the people for good news, not bad news. This good news is what? Is that when you believe in God, you are liberating yourself from your ego, and you are trying to be good with yourself. It's a reconciliation. So it's all about your spiritual life. It's all about, you know, feeling good and understanding. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. We give dignity with the human beings. So it means that you are protecting the dignity of the human beings, and then at the same time protecting justice. These are the two essential things. And to be just and to protect dignity, it means that we have to celebrate education, that we have to work for social education and social justice, that we need also to work to change the feeling of the people and to let them being creative. What is missing today in our Muslim majority countries, in Malaysia and as in other societies, is celebration of culture, diversity and creativity. All this is giving us a sense of well-being. And then you understand the rules. Then you understand, you know, why the Prophet, peace be upon him, was so much respected and obeyed? Because he was loved. You obey better someone you love. This is why Allah himself is saying in the Quran, in kuntum tuhibbun Allah, if you love God, follow the Prophet. It's a matter of love. It's a question. It's an issue that has to do with love, not only about punishing. This is bad, this is wrong, limitations here, being obsessed with, you know, the limits. No, we have to be at peace with the message, and then we'll know how to respect the limits.
So if we were to move forward with this, you ask us to be critical, to challenge what we think are not right, for example. But too many times the legacy, not blaming the past, but if we understand it, we know that it's easier for us to come back to the protection of the majority, the protection of the mainstream is the best tool for Muslims to move forward in the 21st century in a very fast changing world, is to use this ability to have knowledge and to use it critically, to question what they have around them, but also to get more knowledge and understand others.
Which is exactly the point. Very often when I speak, people are getting the sense that we have to be critical. But I'm not saying only you have to be critical. First, to be constructively critical, it means that you have to get knowledge first. And I would say that in our societies, we have challenges, but these are great opportunities. Instead of wasting your time in front of, you know, a TV set, or internet, on, you know, the social networks, come to take time to the big struggle of our time, which has to do with reading books, getting knowledge, constructing, shaping your minds, and then you come with the questions, and then you are constructively involved in this discussion within Islam, among Muslims, with Muslim scholars, to help them and us to get the right answers for our time. But to be passive and to be, you know, some people are critical and passive. It doesn't work together. To be critical and passive is a contradiction in terms. Someone who is critical and passive at the same time is someone who is looking for someone to blame. And I think that this is not what we want. We are not looking for blaming people. We are looking for people who are constructive, who are trying to help the Muslim community. So there are lots of things to do. Women and men together should work on this and being involved in this positive dynamic that is needed within the Muslim communities.
I cannot let you go before asking you about pluralism, but it's not a simple question it's a very complex issue. But if you can tie it back to, you know, the way that you understand things, not just from within your sphere, within what's been told to you, but you must understand the others. We keep putting ourselves too many times in the contemporary world, us against them, when maybe the answer is together with all around us, then we find the solution.
I think it's exactly what I was trying when I wrote the manifesto for a new we, that you can find on my website, tariq-ramadan.com. It's everywhere, it's in the front page. The manifesto for a new we, it's exactly this, to come together. Now, pluralism, you know, some are understanding, and especially in your country, in Malaysia, they understand pluralism means that we are under evaluating Islam, putting Islam as if it's one among other religions. This is not the point. The point is, as Muslims, of course, we think that Islam is the last revelation and it's the truth. We are not talking about this. We are talking about in interpersonal relationship, when we are building together a destiny and a nation, that at the end of the day, willing it or not, Malaysia is going to be Muslims and Buddhists and Chinese and Hindus and people from other faiths. We need to build this together. So instead of saying us Muslims against the other, let us say us as Malaysian people, what are we building together? What is going to be the narrative, the common narrative of our society, and the principles on which we rely to build this sense of belonging. Sense of belonging is critical here. So instead of having a narrow definition of our identity as Muslims against all the others, let us celebrate diversity, because at the end of the day, Allah, God, is telling us in the Quran that this is what He wanted for us. He wanted for us this diversity based on mutual knowledge, based on mutual respect. So let us be consistent with this and try to work on that as something which is one of the most difficult objectives, but it's still the noble objective of being a human being today.
That's all the time we have with Professor Tariq Ramadan for now, but one thing for sure, Professor Tariq Ramadan also said that it's not just about listening, it's going out there and doing it. So we're going to do follow-up discussion on this more and more on Astro Awani. Thank you so much,
Thank
Professor
you so
Tariq
much.
Ramadan.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks to you for watching. Goodbye.
Thank you.